is that she nods and says, "I love you too." And it was such a beautiful scene because saying "I love you" is one of the hardest things to do as an actor, in my opinion.
100%.
Like, it is one of the hardest things to do genuinely, to where like the audience is convinced like you do love this person.
Yeah.
It is an incredibly, incredibly difficult thing to do. Welcome to Post Finale. I'm your host, Ankit Madhira. I'm an actor and a singer who has not seen a lot of films, so to make my friends happy and potentially provide a new perspective on some popular films, I am on a quest to change that. I am never on this quest alone, however. This week, I am once again joined by actor, singer, and just one of my closest friends, Rhys Matthew. Rhys, hello. How are you?
Hello, my friend. How are you? Thank you very much for having me for a
Good.
second time. Appreciate it.
Yes. Oh, of course. We finally, as we said in the last episode, have been able to make this work.
I know,
One of us
right?
isn't on a boat or traveling or doing something bonkers with our lives.
Our paths are always crossing, but the time never crosses between us. It doesn't.
Like, I think the only other time that we were like, "Hey, we're both free," I was like, I don't have. Like, I have films lined up for the next 8 weeks. Like, I don't.
Yeah, I know, right?
I'm like, I'm not.
I'm too busy
Actually,
for this
I'm
right now.
taking a break right now because I've worked ahead.
Of course.
So,
That's you, Ankit. That's always been you.
there we go. We try. We got behind for a bit, but we're working at it. But
And we're
yes,
there
we are
again. We're
back.
back to where we need to be.
Back to where we need to be. We are back, and we are talking about the next portion of The Notebook, the next little chunk of this film. Boy, do I have thoughts. But before this, and I
Ooh.
haven't told you this, I have another question for you.
Okay.
Now, you are also an actor.
Sure.
If you could play somebody in this film, and it cannot be Noah, who would you want to play?
Oh, that's a tough question.
It can be someone I haven't met, and you can just say like the name of the character. Like, that's not really much of a spoiler if I've just met him, but like maybe the listeners will know why. And
Okay.
I just don't know why yet.
Okay, interesting. I tell you what, leave it with me, and I'm gonna have a think about it.
All right.
Leave it with
You'll
me.
give us an answer at the end of the episode.
End of the podcast.
Stick around.
We'll
around.
We'll let it.
back.
I'm just gonna let it linger for a little while, and then
Yeah.
once it comes to my attention, I'll let you know.
Yeah, we'll have an answer by the end of the episode, ladies and gentlemen.
Easily.
But
Easy.
let him think about it. I did spring it on him in the moment.
That was very spontaneous, guys. That was not planned.
I purposefully don't tell people. I'm like, put them on the spot. All right. Let's jump back into it. Where we left off is things are potentially about to get hot and heavy. We're in the Windsor plantation, and they've just been talking about their dream house. Well, Noah's dream house, and Allie's like, I want to stay in this dream house. Now, credit to Noah. He finds a cloth. He lays it out on the floor. They both begin to undress, and they start making love. In the middle of this process, she starts to talk. And she wants this, but now she has to have him talk her through it. And you know what? Fair enough. My first time, nerves. It's fair.
Oh, of course. 100%.
Of course. Like, yeah, it very, very nervous situation for anyone. You're being vulnerable for a first time. Like, completely understandable, right? And he comes in, and she's just going, did you think about this? And he's like, no. And she's just like, you didn't think about this at all? And he's like, sure I did. And then she's like, what did you think? And he's like, nothing. it's just such a beautiful dichotomy of like one person overthinking and overanalyzing, and the other being like, I was living in the moment. Can you shut up?
Yeah, like way back since lay back since way back, whatever they say. I'm chill. I'm doing my thing. Like, you're just overthinking this, man. Like,
right. And both responses in this situation, completely valid. We are not trying to negate anyone's response to this situation. No.
Sure.
Very valid responses. But I just love the dichotomy of the two different spectrums.
Yeah, they're totally two different reactions. And like, that could be like two people in modern society now who are very different in that sort of personality, sort of first impression sense of this situation. Because obviously, the famous first time is always like a bit of a questionable one, depending on who you're with, and obviously like based on what we talked about in the last podcast, like they're quite from two very different backgrounds, and I think one of them
Oh yeah.
will have been very well respected, brought up, as in like I have been taught to do this, perhaps to do not to do that, and to take care of myself, and the other maybe a bit more like I'm chill, I've been laid back, I'm just gonna roll with it and see what happens. That like that could be a possibility of, you know, characterization there and how they both act, right?
And just personalities as well. I feel like personality, what we've learned from Allie, she is a bit more of a thinker, more of a planner.
Sure.
Whereas Noah seems like he rolls with the punches a little bit. Like, you know, he's just like, well, I'm smitten with this girl, so I'm just gonna keep trying things until something works. Like,
Yeah,
he
exactly.
kind of he kind of rolls with the punches, and he's like, I don't really know what's going on, but like, we'll just keep trying. Whereas she does seem like a bit more of a planner.
And we
Um,
discussed, didn't we, about his father, how like he's a little bit more of, you know, even though himself is a little bit older than him, so maybe he's got the upper hand to make his own decisions at this rate. So
right.
maybe without taking the advice, he thought, well, I'm just going to shoot my shot and see what happens. And if she goes along with it, she goes along with it. And if she doesn't, which obviously she doesn't, because she starts questioning and like sort of set backing on whether it's actually going to go ahead and hesitating.
Exactly.
Hesitation is always like key to knowing, you know, what's going to happen next.
And respect to Noah, where he never pressures her during this entire situation.
Yeah.
He lets her talk.
Mm.
He
And I
lets
think that's
her
an
have.
honorable person. Like that's
Yeah,
a real person right there.
it's a real person, like true, genuine connection of like, all right, she apologizes and she's like, look, I want this to be perfect. And now I just can't shut up and I feel really bad about this. And Noah's like, it's okay. Like, don't worry about it. And then he tells her he loves her and asks if she knew that. And
Right.
I was kind of under the impression of like, what? And then I realized like they've never said it on screen.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe they haven't said it off camera. And maybe I just assumed that they had said it.
That's totally true. Yeah, I didn't think of that.
But I don't think that they've said it until now.
Mm-hmm.
So fair enough. Like maybe this is the first time that they are actually saying "I love you" to each other.
Yeah.
I had just assumed that they had said it at this point. What do I know?
It's
So
sometimes it's another way of portraying love, right? Like
right,
some people are actually a little bit not cowards, but they're afraid of saying it because they're not sure how they actually feel. They're not sure whether it would confuse the other person, but showing it in different ways is also a way to bring across your embodiment and your power of your physicality and, you know, be able to express love in different ways. Like that's a big thing.
yeah, and I mean, literally, my note here is that she nods and says, "I love you too." And it was such a beautiful scene because saying "I love you" is one of the hardest things to do as an actor, in my opinion.
100%.
Like, it is one of the hardest things to do genuinely, to where like the audience is convinced like you do love this person.
Yeah.
It is an incredibly difficult thing to do.
And
So,
you've got to make an audience believe, right? It's the most
oh
truthful
yeah,
part of maybe some storylines, or it can be seen as a bit of a, oh, that came out of nowhere. But unless we can see the development of characters and the development of relationship on screen, on stage, in a performance, like that's the real, you know, jaw breaking moment where you're thinking, are they going to say I love you too, or are they going to just like kind of air it and sway it and try and get out of it? Like there's so much to think about with that kind of phrase, isn't
yeah.
there? Right?
I remember when I was in grad school, we were talking about "I love you," and one of my teachers said, if any character says love
Mm-hmm.
in relation to another character, you have to show it to us. They have
Sure.
to earn it. So, and an example that they gave, I don't remember the exact example, but they were like, you know, like two friends can just be like, "Oh, I love you, bro." And this can happen at the beginning of a film.
Right.
But if that doesn't continue and you don't see the bond that the two of them have,
Mm-hmm.
then that line fails as
Yeah.
a line. So
100%.
he was like, you know, and ever since then, any single time anyone has said love in a play or a TV show, anything where I see someone say love, I'm always like, have they earned that? Have they
Sure.
earned to say that word? Because you can say so many other words to say that you are affectionate towards someone, you care for someone, but love is such a strong word. It's
And
like,
it
have you
always,
earned it?
yeah, and it always reflects on characters' actions, right, and what's happened in the storyline along the way before that moment, which then
Right.
reflects on.
Sometimes before, and sometimes I've even had it where it's like, you know what, you haven't earned it yet, but you do earn it because of the style of storytelling. And I'm like, I respect that as well, right? Like, we understand that these two end up together because the entire story is in a flashback or whatever, but like they're still earning it, and like we're seeing why this love exists.
Have
Or
you
something
had
like
have
that.
you had that situation yourself before, where you've questioned yourself saying it, and you're like, am I meaning it?
Oh yeah.
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 Oh,
In terms of being an
100%.
actor or in terms of real life?
No, I say real life because like actors, it's
Both.
different. Right, exactly.
But I
Like
mean,
so,
like both.
yeah,
So
me too. Right,
yeah.
that's a thing.
Yeah. I mean, I had to say I love you on stage before, and it took a while to figure out, like, how do I do this convincingly, and how do I actually feel about this person? Because there's so much that happens. It's
Sure.
like, do I really love them? It's like, and I was like, I don't really love them, but why do I say this? And I had to figure out what I actually loved about them and what I was saying I love you about. Because I was like, otherwise, like, based on the script, I technically hate this person at this moment in time.
I know, like I have no resemblance to them at all, but I've somehow got to make it look
I'm
realistic.
like, they're leaving me. Like, why do I love them currently? Like,
Yeah, legit. Who are they? I don't even know them, to be honest.
anyway, the movie. So Noah says that she doesn't need to go through with this if she doesn't want to, and she's like, no, I want to. And right then, Finn bursts in, and I'm like, Finn, get out. But he's here for a good reason. He's like, Allie's parents are going crazy. They are having every cop in town out looking for her. And I was like, oh no, is this where things start to take a turn for the worse in their love story? The first wrench, as they say. We'll find out. Now,
We'll find
Allie and
out.
Noah will find out. Allie and Noah get home, and Allie is upset that they sent the police. And Anne says that it's 2:00 in the morning. Yes, we sent the police. And I was like, you know what? Fair. That's a fair
Yeah.
play to Anne.
They have sent
Like,
out every single police car in that local area to find their daughter. That is a big moment.
but also, like, that's fair enough. It's 2:00 in the morning, and your 17-year-old daughter hasn't come home. Yeah, I'm not even mad at the parents for calling the cops.
No, I think that's what any
Like,
parent would do when your daughter, especially daughter, is 17.
Yeah.
Like that's a big thing.
And also, like, she knows that she is out with Noah.
Yeah,
And doesn't like
100%.
Noah. Like, yeah. John just calmly asks where have they been. Noah tries to chime in, says that his fault, and John asks him to hold on a minute. He'd like to talk with his daughter alone. Allie heads off into another room, followed by her parents, and John thanks the lieutenant, tells Noah to sit down. And I love this next little bit where
Go on.
it's all voiceover. We hear Allie apologizing to her daddy, and we watch Noah. He is feeling terrible, and he takes a seat. Anne is upset, chides Allie, thinking that she can't just, bat her eyelashes away and get away with this. And we hear all of this happening while we're just watching Noah. And I love that we're watching Noah. We don't need to see that scene.
You can really just see from him how it reads on screen. You're like, wow. Like sometimes you question a character's thoughts, don't you? Even just watching them. And what they're actually thinking at the time. Do you know what I mean? Like what their head is dealing with and embodying in the moment. I guess that's a really important thing on screen, right?
And I feel like Ryan Gosling does a beautiful job of this. Like, he does
amazing.
so much. Like, yes, there's dialogue happening, but like none of the dialogue that's happening technically affects him in a direct way. Like, it all will affect him, but it's not happening to him. But it is happening about him, and like everything affects him, but it's not directly affecting him. It's directly affecting Allie, this entire conversation. But we see that, like, one, there's the guilt. Like, he feels bad that they were out this late and that he didn't get her back in time for curfew or whatever it is, right? Like, he feels bad. And then continuing on in this scene, we hear Anne saying that there are going to be rules, and if the father won't enforce them, she will. And the first rule is stop seeing Noah. And this entire time, we're still on Noah. And he can hear this entire argument happening. It's not like they're far enough away where he can't hear it. So like he knows what's going on, and it's almost like they're right. I'm not good enough for her. Like I'm just trailer bum, not trailer, but like, you know, country bum. I'm
I
not.
don't, I
She's meant
don't,
for bigger
I
things.
don't live up to their expectations of what they want for their
Yeah.
daughter. And obviously, when you're sat in a situation like that where you can literally hear everything being screamed through a door, obviously your first initial reaction is either to walk in and stand your ground, or you just get out of there. You think, well, I can't convince them anyhow, so what would be the point?
Yeah. There. We'll see which one he does. So we finally now cut back to the family arguing, and it's an interesting setup because John is sitting behind his desk, and Annie and Allie are on the side, and I kind of felt like it was like a boss and employees kind of vibe.
Yeah, that's what I first thought when I first watched it, actually. It didn't look like a family inquiry of something, like a situation. It almost looked like, I'm the boss, this is my assistant, and you're getting fired kind of situation. It was like,
Yeah.
wow, like,
Kind of like you're being reprimanded, like Allie is being reprimanded as the employee
mhm,
by the assistant, and the boss is there for legal reasons.
sure. Yeah, exactly. And the way that they deliver messages across to the daughter sometimes is difficult to understand because one minute they're like praising her and saying, "Oh, you're going to be amazing. You're going to do this and that," and then sometimes they give her some really like harsh like criticism, and it's interesting to see how they play both sides of that in the story with
Hmm.
and how the relationships between the parents and the daughter build as well in that situation. Really,
Totally. I think it's very interesting how in this one, even how Anne and John both handled the same situation,
mm.
where Anne is shouting at Allie and telling her she's not allowed to see Noah anymore. And then she continues going on saying, like, I've spent 17 years raising a daughter. I'm not going to have you throw your life away and just end up heartbroken or pregnant with this trash. And she actually says the word trash.
Mm.
And I think that's when Noah gets up and starts to, you know, have thoughts about what he should do in this situation.
Exactly
Like we
right.
we keep cutting back to him, kind of periodically. Allie obviously very upset with this, and she says there's nothing wrong with this, and Anne's like he's a laborer, he's a woodworker, and Allie's like so what? Like it doesn't matter. Allie's super upset, tells her mom that she can't tell her who she can and cannot love. John, who is now standing in the corner, don't know how he got to the corner. He was behind a desk.
Yeah, that's so true, right?
How did he get in the corner?
You never
But
know. He might have
he's
just
in the
been.
corner.
He's like a hologram just there, like just chilling.
He's John figured out teleportation. We cannot. Look, probably he stood up and moved, but like last we
But
saw him,
when?
he was at a
Yeah,
desk.
when did he
But
do that? I
when?
think we all just
But when?
missed that in general.
It obviously happened when like we cut back to Noah, but like still, like that was wicked fast.
Mhm.
Now John's just like, love? I'm sorry, what? And Allie is just like, yes, daddy, I love him. She throws her arms around him. And I was like, come on, John, don't be a dick as well. And I was like, and then I continued with, I understand that you do not approve of this man, but like, maybe say it tastefully.
Sure.
Like, I understand what you were about to say, but
Mhm.
like, say it tastefully. And to his credit, he does. He just goes, I do not think that he is suitable for you. And I was like,
Yeah,
okay, okay.
and isn't it surprising how a lot of maybe the older generation would say in the modern day now, you don't know anything about love, whereas back then maybe he might have been a bit more like, yeah, and said what you've just said, like perhaps not good enough for my daughter kind of thing, but putting it in more of a bravado way where it doesn't seem so harsh in a conversation.
Yeah. Yeah. Like, he's like, look, like, I want you to see. It's kind of like the parenting, like, it's two different tactics that I'm seeing. It's like, Anne is like, you are going to do the things that I say the way that I say you're going to do them.
Mm,
And John's kind of like, I have standards for you, but I want you to understand. And like, I want you, like, I'm not going to say no outwardly, but like, I'll be that quiet disappointed and be like, he's not suitable. Like,
hmm
you could do better. Just like subtly. And it's like, it's still crappy and like terrible and like just love your kid. But like, it's tasteful.
Do you think sometimes that he said that for the purpose of his wife stood next to him, or do you think he meant it?
For John,
hmm
I think it is a mix of both.
Sure.
Because I think there is some prejudice that he does have. But I think what he sees that his wife doesn't is that his daughter is truly happy.
Yeah.
And so that's why throughout all of this, he never raises his voice once. He might be upset, but he never raises his voice. He never raises his voice at Noah. He never raises his voice at Allie. Like, John is not the villain, but it does feel like, it's like, yeah, like, I also agree, like, he isn't suitable, like, this. But then we see in the earlier scene, like, it's just summer love. It's okay. And he's like, it's okay. Like, let the kids have fun. What's the biggest harm? Like, they're kids. Let them enjoy
Maybe a bit of
themselves.
emotional memory of him. Maybe when he was a
Yeah,
kid, like
maybe
that's
he had
something
a
that I did.
summer love
Yeah,
back with
exactly.
someone that wasn't supposed to be approved, and it's like, yeah, like, I get that, but let her live a bit of life. Like, let her have some life experiences, and I kind of feel like that's where he's coming from.
Yeah.
Not that Anne doesn't want her to have life experiences, but like Anne doesn't want her to have life experiences with Noah.
Sure.
Where John might not want her to, but he's not gonna stop her.
Stop it.
Kind of deal. Yeah. So Noah hears this arguing going back and forth. He hears being called trash. He decides to leave. And as we were saying, you kind of have two moves, like stay or leave. And in the moment, I felt like, why are you leaving? Like, you understand that you've messed up and you're going to get a talking to. I didn't think of it in the sense that, like, stick up for the love, like try to convince the parents. I kind of thought of it more as like, you're about to get a lecture, like, from the dad that you kept her out too late. Like, this isn't okay. Like, if you truly love her, stick out, take the lecture, like take the yelling that is going to happen, and then be like, I do apologize, but I do really love your daughter. Right. I thought maybe that was the right move. I don't know. Storytelling wise, this makes sense as well. But like, I thought that is what he should have done in that moment.
I did. I felt half disappointed when he walked off because I thought if she meant that much to you, you'd go and stick up for her and you stick
I
up
was
for
like,
yourself.
fight for it. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, I wanted him to stay. I
It
didn't
was
want him to leave.
it was almost like an effortless move to just go, oh, okay, well, I'm going to leave then because I'm not going to win here. But maybe in that situation, until you're in it yourself as a character, or in real life, you're thinking, I haven't got a leg to stand on here because they both made it clear that they don't want me here. And
Right.
any normal person in modern day would fight for love in different ways. But maybe in the right moment, that was the best thing for him to do because of who he is and what we know about him, right?
Yeah, and in that moment also, like, the scene as it continues, we'll see, I think his justification for leaving makes sense because of everything that he's thinking, everything that the parents are saying right now that he's actively hearing them say. I think it does make sense of why he chose to leave. I didn't want him to leave, but I understand why he left.
Why he left.
Now, Allie's mom, sorry, not Allie's. So Allie hits her mom saying that you know nothing about love. And I was like, oh, go off, girl. Let's see. What do you got? Now, she said, you don't look at daddy the way that I look at Noah. You don't touch, laugh, play. You know nothing about love. And I was like, damn, Allie coming in with
the hits.
with the hits. Like, ooh, Allie has some pent up anger. She runs out of the door. She's like, I am not going to wait for the response for this one. And she catches Noah outside. And she apologizes, says that she is humiliated. Noah's like, it's okay, it's all right. Noah says that he's going to go off and he's going to go have a think. And Allie's like, no, don't. And then I was like, you don't want him to think? Like, what? And then I was like, oh no, she doesn't want him to go. This makes a lot more sense. Yes. So Allie stops him.
Just before we talk about this scene,
Oh yeah.
I got super confused watching them both at this part of the film because we've obviously understood their relationship. 2 or 3 minutes prior to that on screen, they were literally naked, ready to, do the deed. And then we're out at a car, and there's this confrontation, or a truck, and we're having this confrontation. And I'm laughing, thinking, this guy had his thumbs right up behind her back, going, "Yeah, this is great," 5 minutes ago, and now it's just chaotic because the police have come out. His parents have just arrived, going, "Where's my daughter?" And then he's now just left, and he's in his truck, and they've got this conversation. And I don't know about you, but I know we're about to discuss it. But I'm just thinking, what could possibly go wrong more than what's happened so far? Like it's a really hard situation to be in, I think.
It almost feels like you are at a mountaintop. You are like, things are going great in our relationship. We are so comfortable with each other that we are going to take it to the highest level of intimacy possible. Sure. And then it's just like, you're just like, all right, we're ready to take this next step. And there is no step, and you just plummet. Like,
Legit.
it is almost like a free fall down. Because, like, I think in movie time, this happens all in a span of maybe 7 to 10 minutes.
Yeah, very true.
Like, all of this is happening in 7 to 10 minutes of movie time, roughly. Like, it's not a long period of time.
You think
we take a time to talk about things.
Exactly,
but
like the length of the film, you think that happens in a very, very kind of short amount of time.
But it doesn't feel rushed.
No, it doesn't at all. It feels like not a good chunk, but a very small part of the film where you thought, oh, wow, that turned around so quickly. Like, from the situation that they were in, right?
I mean, they completely just fell off the cliff. And so it is very interesting. Now, Noah says that, you know what, it's all right. He's going to go away think. Allie tells him to not go anywhere. And she says, you're leaving. I'm staying here. Like, don't go anywhere. Or no, he's like, you're leaving. I'm staying here. You're going away. And I'm happy for that. But you're going to have a million things to do. You have so much ahead of you. And I was like, is he breaking up with her? Turns out, yeah, kind of. Allie tells him not to talk like that. Noah says that it's true and that he's going to have a nice, like, he's not that. Allie says not to talk like that. Noah says that it's true. He's not going to have nice things, fancy things. It's just not in the cards for him. Just not going to happen. And Noah says that, she has to go to school. And I appreciate that he's like, you have to go to school. You cannot stay here.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
I think for him to say that is like we've talked about honesty and realism. Like he's actually probably hit a mark in the situation where he's hit a bit of reality and thought, actually, yeah, I've just heard that your mum said she wants to send you. Your dad is pretty much saying like, I'll never be good enough for you. So yeah, why don't I just jump on the bandwagon too and agree with them? Like, you're going to school, like that's what you're going to do. I'm going to just do what I'm going to do. Like, we're probably not fit for each other. It doesn't mean not doesn't mean like right now. It could be some other time that it could come back together, obviously. But like, I feel like he's being more of the grown up in the situation and going, look, I've heard what they've said. I'm probably now thinking about it, and yeah, you do need to do that, and I need to do this, and maybe we're not right for each other right now. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, and I definitely feel like that's kind of what he's saying is like, just we'll see what happens, but like, we just got to be realistic about this as well. Allie says that he should come to New York, and he's like, what would I do with there? And she's like, you would be with me. And he's like, I don't know. And I'm like, you know what? That's fair enough. Like, if the only answer is be with you, then like, yeah, like, what would you do? Like, you need something to do.
Sure.
Can't just come for nothing. Not saying that she's nothing, but like, he says they don't have to figure it out now. Let's finish up the summer and see what happens. And I was like, so they are going to break up. And she confirmed, she's like, are you breaking up with me? And he's like, no, I'm saying, let's see how it goes later on. He's got a level head on him. I'm not really mad at him at this point. Like, and it makes sense, like we were saying, of why he would get up and leave the house if all of this is what's brewing inside his head, yeah, it makes sense of why he's just like, there's no hope. Like, I should just quit and I should just go.
That's right.
Like, it makes sense. So Noah starts to walk away. And Ali says, are you actually breaking up with me? And he's just like, I don't see how this is going to work. And Ali starts pretty much just hitting him. Like, if you're going to do it, break up with me right now. Why wait until the end of the summer? Like, just do it right now. And then he doesn't say anything. And she continues just hitting him and then breaks up with him.
I remember looking at the situation where she was physically hitting him, and I was like, wow, like, that's harsh. Like, how's it escalated to get that, brutal that quickly?
Yeah.
And I thought, like, he's not exactly being an asshole about it. He's not like, nah, stuff you and F you and this ain't for me anymore. Like, he's being quite genuine about the situation. And the way that she deals with it, it doesn't really reflect the feelings that you see between them. It's almost like an outburst of anger. And you're like, oh, right, okay.
It almost felt like it was a temper tantrum.
Sure.
And it was just like, she just didn't know how to express her feelings. We got to remember, she's still 17. Like, she didn't know how to just express how she was feeling.
Mm-hmm.
And it wasn't like she was wailing on him and punching him. It was kind of like little slaps.
Yeah.
So it wasn't like she was like, even, excuse the language, bitch slapping him. Like, it wasn't even that.
Bitch slapping.
Like, it wasn't even one of those. But it was just like her arms kind of flailing, and like how like you imagine like a kid would come up and like try to fight.
Yeah, like throw punches and just like totally hopeless. They're just there like, great. Just throw another one.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's almost like if you were tall enough, you can stick out your hand and they'll just be there like arms swinging, and you're just like, yep, cool, kid.
Like you hold their head in their face and they're trying to run at you and stuff, and you're like, ha ha ha.
I can do this.
Yeah, legit.
Like that. Not that that's what he did. That's the vibe that Ali was giving. He gets in the car, he drives off, and as he's driving off, Ali goes, wait, this isn't really happening, is it? Like, this is just a fight, and tomorrow it's all going to be over, right? Like, it's fine. Nothing happened.
Mm-hmm.
No answer. He drives off. And honestly, like, that's fair. Like, it did feel like just a fight.
Mm-hmm.
It didn't feel like it would be their breakup. Like, I was like, this is going to be their breakup. And I knew that it was, and I knew that there was going to be a wrench because they have to separate for the ending of the movie to work so that they can kiss in the rain. Again, one of the few things I know. They need to kiss in the rain.
You got a lot to see, man.
But they need to come back together. And I know that it's like a big moment when they come back together and kiss in the rain. I have no idea why it's a big moment. I just know that it's a big deal that they kiss in the rain. So,
all will be revealed.
Yeah. She has to leave. And so I'm like, she's going to leave, but I agree with her in this sense that, like, it does just feel like a fight.
Mm-hmm.
It feels like they just had an argument. Oh, no.
This happens in society now. If you're in a relationship, like, you fight, and normally, like, the following day, or if you live together,
even, like, a couple hours later, like, you go cool off, and then you're like, sorry.
And then, yeah, you're like, you come together and you sort stuff out, right? That's the normality, like, but in their situation, obviously,
normal fighting is sometimes healthy.
Yeah, like, and absolutely nothing at all is quite scary. Like, if there's no bravado or no argument for nothing in a relationship, that can be concerning because it's almost like it's like crazy perfect, and it's like no, argument is very healthy, and it is healthy. Easily agreed. Easily.
Yeah. Not if you're arguing all the time. That is unhealthy.
No.
But arguments every now and again, healthy. It means you care. It's what I tell the kids when I teach them. I'm like, hey, do you feel nervous before getting on stage? And I'm like, good. It means you care. Like,
and it's a better way to understand each other for future term and reference, right?
Right. Exactly. So we're back with Duke and the lady. Currently, I still don't know her name. I don't know.
Wow.
Or if they've said it, I've definitely missed it.
I do know it, but I'm not going to say it because, like, that's for you to find out.
If they've said it, I've missed it. And so for right now, she's just the lady. Um,
Yeah, just a lady in the chair asking, "Oh, what's this story all about?" Just constantly. Great.
Look, she's here. She's a vibe. I like her. Especially after watching this chunk, I love her. Like, she is
Okay.
incredible. Like,
Okay.
she is great. I'm on board with her. I was never like not on board with her, but like just the way that she acts, like she doesn't say a whole lot in this little chunk that I watched, but I just like her. I was like, yes. Now
Sure. Sure.
they are walking out on a lawn. It's a white house, blue shutters. No blue shutters though. I don't see blue shutters, but it is a white house. So we'll see if it comes back into play. Noah has left. And she was devastated, and the lady was just trying to do the right thing. And well, she says that he was just trying to do the right thing. And then I love this. She goes, what he should have done is told those parents to go to hell. Just stick it where the sun don't shine. And I was like, yes, lady, let's go.
Slay. That's a great slay right there.
I
We
was
love
like, perfect.
it.
Duke chuckles, and I was like, ooh, okay. So I'm doubling down. Duke has to be Noah. There's no way he can't be Noah. The way that actor laughed, and the laugh was like he knew, and it was almost like yeah, I should have done that, and I didn't, and I'm a Dumbo for not doing that. And like that, like, yes, ma'am, you are right. I should have done that. I am so on the train of this actually being Noah and Allie, and like that's who the old couple is. Like, it needs to happen, and if it doesn't, I'm gonna be pissed. And I appreciate you can't say anything.
You know what? But it's important that even what we're talking about here, you're talking about observational notes in the film. You're picking up on stuff that a lot of people would just go, "Oh, I'm going to take a wild guess and just say that these two are like these two from the film." Whereas you're picking up on the moments that an actor can deliver to you to make it more believable. It reads as a different message, and that's how I see you as an actor, like myself. You're picking up on those moments to go, oh, "Okay, this is potentially in the running."
Yeah.
You could be you know what? You could be wrong, Ankit. You just don't know.
I
But
don't
to
want to be
have
wrong. Look, I'm wrong a lot. Like
yeah, but we're all
listeners.
wrong in life. But
Well,
nine times
especially
out
on
of ten.
this show, though. Like, listeners, go back and listen to the other episodes. Maybe not the Barbie ones, because I tend to be right on the Barbie ones because they're made for children. The movies are very fun, but the target age is like 4 to 8. Like, but we've gone down a rabbit hole, so
A
we
total
continue.
rabbit hole.
We're 4 movies deep into this rabbit hole. Yeah. It is deep. But anyway, yeah, Duke needs to be Noah, and if it isn't Noah, I am gonna be pissed. We'll find out. I don't know. Come back in a couple weeks, and either I'm gonna be on cloud 9 and being like, I knew this all along, or I'm gonna be devastated.
Either there'll be like a celebration party, like I was right, or they'll just be like you sitting in the corner going, I was so wrong.
You're either gonna have like me with like confetti being like he did it, or like me just like crying in a corner. There's no in between.
I'll probably message you and just won't have to reply for like 10 weeks. And it's like, is he okay? Like, is he still suffering from the podcast? We're not getting it right.
Or did he get it right? Is he still celebrating? Who knows?
He's actually in Vegas, just firing poker chips left, right, and center for a
Yeah.
celebration.
Perfect. So the next day, Allie's world changed. Now, the cars are packing stuff and they are going home. Allie says that they aren't supposed to leave for another week, but Anne says that we are leaving today. And Allie's like, I'm not going to go. And Anne's like, you're going whether you like it or not. And then Anne says something interesting. Even if Aaron has to throw you over the shoulder and drag you the whole way you're going. Couple of things. One, who's Aaron? We've never met him. Who's Aaron?
Aaron, is he someone who's like a butler or he's like a chauffeur?
That's my assumption.
Yeah, like someone who works for the parents.
Yeah. Two, that sounds painful because Aaron would also have to be dragged in this situation if he's dragging her while she's on his shoulder.
Yeah, that's so true.
Like,
Wow, what an assumption.
Why does Aaron also need to be dragged here? Like,
Oh
why
my
can't Aaron
goodness.
just carry her on her shoulder? Like, why does he have to, like, also be on the ground being dragged along?
So actually, what's happening is he's being dragged along. And he's like, just hop on here and hold on. And he's being dragged along the floor.
Like, that sounds painful. We need better for Aaron.
What? Only you could think of that. Seriously.
Welcome to the show. So Allie storms out. Meanwhile, at the lumber mill, Allie finds Finn, and she's looking for Noah. And Allie tells Finn that she's leaving right now. Noah is out delivering a load. He ain't around. Allie tells Finn to tell Noah that she loves him. She's sorry for everything. And Finn's just like, look, I was up with them all night. I've never seen him this low. It's over. Don't make this harder than it is. And Allie insists that it's not over. They had a fight, and it didn't mean everything that they said. It can't be over. Finn doubles down, and I'm like, Finn, read the room. They love each other.
Read the situation, dude.
Finn, be a better wingman. But he tells her to leave it alone, let it go. And Finn says that Noah understands. Summer is over. Go home. If he wants to talk, he'll write. If not, I can't do anything. And Allie, to her credit, just says, all right, fine, but tell him I love him. And Finn's like, all right, I'll tell him that. They share a hug. Allie heads out, and she leaves. Noah comes back, and Finn tells him the news. He immediately runs back into his truck, drives to the house where Allie was staying for the summer. The gates are locked. He drives straight into the gates. Don't really know what he was hoping to accomplish here. Didn't work.
No, really didn't work. She was welcome, mate.
Yeah. Now, this is where we're going to take a lovely intermission, and then we're going to jump back in for Duke's new voiceover. Ooh. Hello, everyone, and thank you so much for listening to this episode of Post Finale. Welcome to the intermission. I hope you are all enjoying this episode, and if you are enjoying this episode, please do us a favor and hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit that follow button on whatever podcast app you're listening to, or if on YouTube you are doing that. Leave us a comment. It really does help us out, and we will respond to all the comments that we are able to respond to. So we really do appreciate all of you for listening to this episode, and we hope you are enjoying it. Now, just a couple of housekeeping things before we get back to the episode with me and Rhys going over the notebook. First off, if you are enjoying our content and you want more of it, you can get so by going over and getting onto our Patreon at patreon.com/co-opforge. So that's patreon.com/co_opforge. And you get access to bonus content, and it's not just bonus content from Post Finale, but it's bonus content from Flip the Scripts as well. And every now and again, we got some stuff from Seattle Across the Pond going up there while that show is on a bit of a hiatus currently. So we are still uploading every now and again over on the Patreon for that as well. So you get access to loads of content over on Patreon, and it really does help us out as well of just not being in the red while we're making these shows. That's our goal here, is to continue making really good content for you guys and hopefully continue improving, but also not be in the red and losing money while we're making these episodes. So if that sounds appealing, the Patreon is patreon.com/co_opforge. If you do not want to support our Patreon, or that is not feasible for you at this time, that is completely okay. First off, just thank you for listening to the episode. It means a lot. You can still help us out if you want to help us out. Follow us on social media, co-opforge, co_opforge on Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook, and Post Finale Pod on Instagram. Be sure, follow us on social media, talk about the show on social media, tag us in posts. It really does help us out a whole ton. Send us recommendations of things that we should watch on this show or things that I should put on the list. I don't know most of the time what's going on. The Notebook got on the list because it was a suggestion from somebody. So by all means, if you have suggestions, send them my way. I'll add them onto the list, and I will get to them hopefully soon. There are a lot of films out in the world, so do follow us on social media, co_opforge, and Post Finale Pod on Instagram. And last but not least, tell a friend about the show. It really does help us out a lot. Word of mouth is the best way to help grow a podcast. And just telling a friend about the show and being like, hey, there's this actor who breaks down movies for the first time. He's never seen them before. He's trying to guess what's going on while also coming in and trying to, add a little bit of his background into it. It really does help us out a lot, and it really does mean the world to us. Thank you to anyone who has already done this, and a huge thanks to anyone who will do this in the future. And last but not least, just a couple of things that I have going on in my life personally that you all might be interested in. First off, if you are listening to this on the day that it comes out on the 12th of February, I have a new song coming out called Sweet New Memories coming out on the 14th of February. You can find it on all the platforms on the 14th. under my name, Ankit Madhira. So just Ankit Madhira. Anywhere that you listen to music, you can find the new song Sweet New Memories. And it's coming out on the 14th. I really hope you all enjoy it, and I hope you all listen to it. Secondly, if you are in the Seattle area, or even if you're not in the Seattle area, but want to come to the Seattle area for a theater show, I have my first professional lead, and it is a very, very fun production of Oliver, where I am playing Oliver himself. We're turning it into punk, and it's rock and fun, and Oliver's teenagers now. It's a really good time. Be sure to come check that out. It is going to be happening on March 21st through April 5th here in Seattle at the Theater Off Jackson. And tickets are out now, and the ticket link will be in the description down below. But I think that is everything for us. You've heard me ramble on for a little bit here in this intermission. Let us get back to post finale and back to the episode of me and Rhys going through the notebook. So we're back, and Duke has a lovely voiceover, and it's all about summer romance. Summer romances end for all kinds of reasons, but when all is said and done, they have one thing in common. They're shooting stars, a spectacular moment of light in the heavens, a fleeting glimpse of eternity, and in a flash, they're gone. Now, the lady, while we see this, she is sitting and listening so intently while he reads, like truly grabbing onto every single word. And I loved her acting in this moment because I was like, she literally just got told to sit there and listen. And she is doing that wholeheartedly. And I was like, I would love to get paid to sit there and listen.
The most amazing thing is, obviously, we know the situation about her, but like, she's a very good acknowledger of like content. So when you're getting told a story, most people who are getting told a story either lose interest, they really don't care about the situation. They're just being polite and listening because that person's going out of their back end to tell it. And thirdly, they either are really drawn by it or they're really like, oh God, I'd have never have done that. They have too much of an opinion on it. But I feel like she keeps a consistency up of like, I'm really interested to see where this is going. And she keeps that throughout the whole, well, I'm saying this, she keeps throughout the whole film.
When we keep jumping back, like, she doesn't always say something. Like, Duke definitely talks a lot more than her. As
100%.
As he should. Like, the way the story is structured, yes. But when she does chime in, she is asking, confirming questions about the characters, being like, have I understood this properly? Like, I want to make sure I'm on the right page. Or even her opinions about these characters of the story that she's listening. She's like, look, I get why he was doing that. He was wrong. But I get it. Like, it's like I am processing the information. Now, here's the question. Where have I seen this actress before?
That's a good question. I recognize her from something, but I don't know what it's from.
Are you able to look up who it is?
Yeah, of course.
Because I don't want to, in case I look up a spoiler.
Yeah, no, don't do that. So her name is Jean Rowlands. Wait, hang on a sec. Is that? Yeah, no. So her name in it is Ali, right? So I've got to obviously look for the right Ali. So she was born in 1930. She's been in The Notebook. She died in 2024, which is pretty sad. She's been in Olive, Yellow, Applause, Broken English. I don't really know any of these films actually. Do you remember the Anthony Horowitz series, The Skeleton Key? It was like
no, never seen them.
No.
Okay, maybe I don't know her from something. I just thought I did.
I mean, obviously, like, because this is such a big film, maybe you've seen it advertised so much and you just recognize it from literally the front of the film.
Maybe I just recognize her from it. Yeah, I don't know.
Maybe reading something. There isn't anything that I could. I mean, she's been on NCIS, but I don't really think you'd be the type of person to watch NCIS, quite honestly.
I'm not gonna lie. What's NTIS?
No, NCIS. It's like a.
Oh, NCIS.
Yeah,
yes,
NCIS.
I have seen that. Yeah.
It's like a CIA sort of thing, isn't it? Or an FBI kind of stuff.
Okay.
Apart from that, I can't see anything really that stands out to tell me that we both know anything else that she's from.
I don't know. We'll find out.
It's bizarre.
Yeah, I don't know. She just has one of those faces. For all we know, we've seen her as a guest star on a show that we've seen, and like it doesn't quickly come up if like you've guest starred in one episode for something. So
Sure. Sure.
Completely fair. And sometimes it's not always credited either that, like, I've done it, or maybe she's
That's
done so
true.
many things that like what I have seen her in just doesn't make the billing. Who knows?
Yeah, totally true.
Yeah. So we learn that Noah was desperate. He wrote to Allie saying that he was sorry, stupid for breaking up with her, and wrote that he still loved her, wanted to see her. And I was like, did the mom keep throwing out the letters? And then we learn more. He wrote one letter a day for 365 days for an entire year, 365 letters, all unanswered. And I had two thoughts. One, the mom is evil. Two, how much did stamps cost back then? Because that's a lot of stamps.
The stamps probably wouldn't have been so much back in those days because this is like in the 40s, right?
How
But
much did a
I'd be
stamp
interested in
cost?
it. But I was really, really frustrated based on the mother getting rid of the letters basically every day. Like he was going out of his way to post them to really keep something a spark, and she
Mm-hmm.
was ditching them. She was either getting rid. No, well, I don't know what she was doing with the letters, but her daughter never got to read them, and that's really sad because she never found out how he really feels, and that's
It's
tough.
horrible.
That's a tough situation to be in completely.
And here's the other reason I hate the mom. We know that this man is only making 40 cents a week.
Hmm.
A stamp cost 3 cents per ounce in 1940, which means that on a weekly basis, he was spending 27 cents
27, yeah.
on stamps just to send letters to your daughter. He was spending over half his paycheck
Mm.
to send your daughter a letter. He was almost using 3/4 of his paycheck, and you couldn't let her read a letter. What the heck?
And he did it for a whole year. Can you imagine the consistency of that? If someone said
Oh,
to you, Ankit, will you write me a letter every day for a year? Would you do it?
I'd send you a text, but not a letter. That's
I'd,
expensive.
I'd send you a free WhatsApp, but
I'd
in
send
terms
you
of
something free.
a first class stamp, I'm pretty sure I sent my girlfriend's in the Bahamas on a ship. I'm pretty sure I sent her a Christmas card, and I posted obviously special postage to get there, and it cost like 150 or something. I was like, oh, it's only a letter, but a parcel you can pay up to like £500 to send parcels out there. Like it's
Dude,
so crazy.
imagine me moving back home from London.
I know
Woo!
that is nuts. That's a lot of money worth of stuff.
4 years. Yeah, stuff adds up. Sold a lot of stuff before I left as well.
Yeah, you did. I remember you telling me.
I sold a lot. So yeah. Yeah, I was mad at the mom. I was like, Mom, you suck. Anyway, this is where I have my next prediction of what I think is gonna happen in this movie. And I was like,
I'm all ears. I'm all ears.
does Allie randomly write him a letter in one of those like write a letter a soldier programs that they had when the wars were happening? And they still happen now. Like, I'm not saying that like kids don't write letters to soldiers now. Like, I still have a vivid memory of doing that during elementary school. Like, yeah, maybe, but it's a bigger deal when the world wars were happening and things like that.
Sure,
So
sure.
does she write him a letter through this? He randomly gets this letter and they realize that it's the same person that they used to love way back. They're going to fall in love again. Here's our notebook. I'm still looking for our notebook. I'm going to be really mad if there is no physical notebook. Ooh, but I've also been talking this entire time. And now, because I'm pretty sure that Duke is also Noah, maybe the notebook is what he is reading to her. Maybe that's the notebook.
Hmm.
I don't know. We'll
That
find out.
is an interesting assumption, Ankit.
Yeah. So after a year of silence, he decided to start a new life, and he packs his bags and heads for Atlanta. Now, we're in Atlanta. Noah's working, and he gets called down. We hear the radio broadcast, and it's the radio broadcast to enter World War II for the U.S. Noah and Finn both enlist together 2 years after chasing Rommel through the North African desert. They were deployed to Patton's Third Army in Europe. And I love the dichotomy of this because they went from having a nice, pleasant card game in the desert to trudging through the snow in Europe.
Wow, what a lovely sight. Beautiful
What a
nature.
shift. What a
And then
shift.
dirty mud and things flying everywhere. Great.
Yeah. So we see airplanes incoming, and the boys are caught in an aerial strike, and Finn gets hit. He doesn't make it. Finn died quick. Honestly,
Yeah,
I don't
that's
really care about Finn. Like, all
I,
right,
I unfortunately for me, he wasn't really that relevant in the film. Like, I don't think he was anyway. Like,
he played his part, and I appreciate that the film was like, oh no, he died. All right, moving on. Like, they didn't try to linger on his death. They were like, yeah, you don't care about this character either, but like, he does exist, and like,
that's
you've
actually so
understood
true.
that like they're friends. So like, we'll tell you that like, he has now Noah has faced this trauma and watched his best friend die, right? Like, you know this, right? And it's like, great, but you don't need to know more than this because this isn't a story about Noah and Finn.
Mhm.
That's a different movie. Like,
Yeah, totally. And like
I,
we know that he's the main role now, and the story is about him and
yeah.
about Ali. So like the minor characters or the supporting characters are not going to get a lot of attention based on the Notebook cover is literally those two, and then the
Kissing in the
story is
rain.
about it's about those two. So hardly a guy dying. No offense in the film, which he hasn't really had much role apart from walking on his best pal like with a girl in.
Well, he helped introduce them. Like he played a role. And I
Yeah.
appreciate that like they didn't just like be like he doesn't exist anymore. Like
Hmm.
I have no idea what happened to Sarah. I didn't care about
Yeah,
her
she
either. But
disappeared.
like
Again, she was a very minor role. Maybe
she
not anybody's
disappeared.
big.
Finn at least was like, "Hi, he died." Great, moving on. Like it's like feel sad for 5 seconds and then here's the next thing. So the next thing, Allie, in her third year of college and volunteers as a nurse aide. And to all the broken men who filled the ward, for her, all of them were Noah, or someone who fought beside him in the war in the jungle. And I was like, what war is he fighting where he's fighting in a jungle in Europe? Where are the jungles in Europe? Have you found them? I haven't seen
No,
one.
no,
Mm-mm.
no. Quite honestly, no. I don't think I've actually got that far yet to
I've
find a
seen
jungle.
I've seen a dense forest. It's the best I
Okay.
got.
Wow.
Yeah,
Okay.
I went to Scotland.
There's some pretty like
Oh,
yeah.
no, no,
Well,
no. That
Scotland.
was in Scotland.
Oh, Scotland's beautiful though. There's some amazing. My girlfriend's from Scotland. Her family from Scotland. So there is some pretty special areas of Scotland for
Yeah,
sure.
Scotland's
But
beautiful.
in terms of jungle, yeah, I'm not sure about that
I don't think we have a
one.
jungle.
Yeah,
Allie,
not quite.
Allie, I don't know if that third year of that college education is doing it for you.
Yeah, definitely not.
So Ali lifts someone up who's in a full body cast, and I'm gonna name this guy Bodycast until we learn his name. So Bodycast noticed that she wasn't wearing a ring and asks her out on a date. Ali just gets up, and Bodycast continues the bravado on this guy. He's just like, before you say no, I am a wonderful dancer, and my intentions with you are completely dishonorable. Has this ever worked? Where you told someone that your intentions are dishonorable and they're like, yes, do terrible things to me. Like,
Yeah,
I have
that's so
never
true.
seen this work in a film.
No, I don't think I've ever seen that work ever in a film, but somehow it's just, yeah. Yeah, fair enough. Maybe in the moment it worked. I don't know. Maybe the charm did it. Even when he was completely like broken up in every body part, literally, like
Oh, the charm definitely didn't do it when Ali hits him with the once you get better and then we'll
legit.
discuss it.
Yeah, she was like not having any of it. Maybe though because she was resenting Noah out in that situation because of it was the first guy perhaps she's spoken to since him.
Maybe I also kind of just thought of it as her being like, buddy, you're in a full body cast. Like, get better for, like, who
Yeah,
are you
legit.
taking on a date right now?
Yeah,
Um,
legit.
Now, Allie is walking with her friends and they walk past an officer. And I was like, oh, this guy's hot. And then I was like, oh, it's Bodycast. He's dreamy. He asks her out on a date. Allie's blushing. I'm sorry. Hold on. What magic healing powers do we have during World War II where a guy in a body cast can just be flaunting about what seemingly is a couple months later?
Yeah, I was discussing in my head how quickly that was on from that situation. I don't know.
What's what's our timeline? Like that man should not be able to walk that quickly that fast.
I'm thinking that must have been looking at the state of what he was in from the war. You must have been talking like half a year to
I
be in
feel like
to be
he
in
was in a
fit condition.
he was in a full body cast. I feel like
Yeah.
that's going to take at least a year to get out of. Like
So
they don't put you in a full body cast unless you break something in every portion of your body.
yeah, legit. And
Otherwise, why would they put your leg in a cast if you don't have a broken leg? Like,
Mhm.
and as someone who has hurt themselves, it takes a while for rehab to happen.
yeah, it does.
Like, what is our timeline we are working with? They make it seem like it's a couple months, but then like there's what?
hmm
She's
Yeah,
still in school where this should logically take at least 2 to 3 years to get better, but she's
sure.
still in school and she's not going to school to be a nurse, or at least that hasn't been told to us if she is.
hmm
What? Um, mm,
Bit of a
it
bit of a
bothers me.
mind, yeah, bit of a mind twister there.
Yeah. Magic
But
healing potions bother me.
he becomes a very interesting person, right?
Oh yes, we learn his name is Lon Hammond,
Oh,
and well, never mind. So we learn
well,
his name is Lon Hammond, and my
that's right.
initial reaction is go away.
Well, this guy, we've got to introduce him because it's James Marsden. I don't know if you know much about him as the actor.
I know he's a very good actor, and I've seen him in a
So,
lot of things, but I don't know what. But I have,
okay, right.
like, his face I definitely have seen.
I will remind you the biggest one that he's been in. Hairspray came out in 2007, right? And he played Corny Collins,
Okay.
right? So he's very, very well known for that. But I know for a fact that when I saw him, this was kind of one of his earliest films. Not
What did you say his
early.
name was?
James Marsden.
Okay.
Fantastic musical theatre singer as well. Like he has an amazing voice, and he's almost like a bit of an inspiration to me because he's like a male musical theatre star now, still in a lot of films. He's a bit like different to the Jeremy Jordan. He's more sticked into films more than musical theatre. So
Hmm.
like the stuff he's done is amazing. But when I first saw him in this, I was like, geez, he looks super young. So I'm presuming it's like a bit of a Ryan Gosling thing. It's maybe one of his first big hits. And
Or,
actually,
like, one of his first big leads for sure.
yeah, for sure. And actually, this ties into the question you gave me at the start, but obviously we'll talk about that more towards the end. But this character really interests me because as much as we don't really want to give him any
I'm
sympathy
not
or
rooting for him, but I like him, and I'm
yeah,
conflicted.
exactly. That's how I feel. I kind of like him because he's got the charm of like, oh, okay, so time's gone on, and he asked the girl while he was in absolute agony and pain, "Can we go on a date?" And he's managed to somehow wing it, and we see that it's somewhat happening. Like
Yeah.
she's walking out with her friends, and they're checking him out. She's to say, "Who's that guy?" And she's like walking along, going, keep walking." Like, I know who he
Yeah, yeah.
is. Like playing that power, right?
So I do know what I know him from. Recently at least, the thing that is like the big hit that everyone will know him from is the Sonic movies.
That's right.
Because he's in those. Maybe he's not in the third one. I don't know. Because when I looked up his name, it only says Sonic the Hedgehog 1 and 2. And I don't know. Maybe he's not in the third one. I don't actually know
Maybe
what happens in the third one.
maybe they just cut him in the third one. They were like, "We've had enough of him. That's it."
Well, I haven't seen the second one, so maybe his character like doesn't make it at the end of the second one. Like I've only
Yeah,
seen the
maybe
first one. Um,
maybe the third one he just disappears in the third one and he's
yeah,
gone.
yeah. He's also in Enchanted, 27 Dresses,
Yeah.
and the Loft, the Box. Oh no, he is in Sonic the Hedgehog 3. It's just further on in the billing for some reason.
hmm
So it's okay,
And
guys. He made it.
and I do recognise that in a lot of the films he does play a very similar role. He plays this kind of either lover or love interest slash kind of the main guy, like Corny Collins in
Mhm.
Hairspray is like the leader of a TV show. He is his TV show. The Corny Collins show is the TV show.
He plays the hot guy.
Yeah, right. He's the guy that a lot of the women would go, "Wow, yeah, fair. He's good."
Yeah, fair. So, yeah. We learn he is handsome, smart, funny,
Oh yeah,
sophisticated, charming, and comes from old Southern money and is fabulously wealthy. Not just regular wealthy, fabulously wealthy.
fabulously. Oh yeah.
We're at a jazz club. I'm assuming time has passed, because now we're with John and Anne. And John and Anne get up and dance, and Lon discusses why they should not get married. Oh, also, I might have missed it, but Duke's voiceover tells us that Allie fell for him fast. So, cool. John and Anne get up to dance. They head out, and they couldn't think of a reason. Lon couldn't think of a reason at first of why they shouldn't, but the answer, her parents. The problem is that they love him too much. He's the type of guy that they want her to end up with. Wealthy, Southern, decent job. And I was like, I enjoy that Allie like plays along. Like she's hearing this for the first time. Where like she might have grown up, but she's still the same Allie. Like she doesn't change as a character all too much. Like as most people don't. Like it's not like you have a massive difference between being a 17-year-old and being a, I guess, 24-year-old at this point. Maybe Allie is like she's not that much older. She's not even 24. She is not like she's probably more like 23.
Yeah, I'd
Or
imagine
22.
she's probably in her very early 20s, 22,
Early
21.
20s.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so he then continues on saying, I'm an incredible dancer and a smart guy. And then he says, if you marry me, then you will have lost a lifelong battle of defiance against your parents. The band starts scatting. The people in the club join in. Sure, we needed something to break up this conversation. Why not? We're at a jazz club. Have some fun. Lon then asks Allie to marry him. Needs her to marry him. And I was like, go away. You are charming. But no, I'm not supposed to like you. Go away.
This is a really important part of the film. Why have you now suddenly just swarmed in?
Yeah. Who are you? I don't care about you. I don't like you. Go away. What's happening to Noah? His friend apparently died. I don't know. I was supposed to care about him. I don't. So Lon continues, because if you do, your parents will know the unhappiness that you feel for not being able to disappoint them. And Allie's like, you have overlooked one minor detail. You have to get their permission first, and you may have overestimated their affection for you. And this is where I'm just like, no, he hasn't. He's already gotten permission. He's about to propose. And then I hit play, and I was like, oh, look, he's proposing. Who could have guessed?
Did we see that one coming? No. Really?
No. Yeah, and then this is where I was like, where have I seen this guy before? We've had this discussion. Lon stops the band, makes an announcement. Everyone's happy. Whoop-de-doo. Duke's voiceover again. She agreed with all her heart, but couldn't understand why at the very moment that she said yes, Noah's face came to her mind. And I was like, because you love him, you fool!
Does that surprise you? Not really.
No.
Like, based on the film cover, what we see on the front of the bloody film, it's like, this is a love story on these two people. And anyone who
It's gonna
comes
be a
in...
wild ending if this is, hi, I know you loved Noah your entire life, and Duke is actually Lon telling her the story. That would be wild.
It'd be funny if Duke was actually him, though, wouldn't it? Not Noah, but the
If
other
Duke
guy,
was
Lon.
Lon,
Yeah,
it
that
would be
even
real
funny.
It would be real funny. I don't know. It's a possibility. I will be upset, but like, we'll see. Lon, meanwhile, Noah, meanwhile, is back home from war, and I'm like, I am wrong on every prediction about any letter and war at all. Like, what? Okay, no idea what's happening anymore. I am flying by the seat of my pants. I'm at this point just holding out hope that Duke is actually Noah and Allie is the lady. I don't know. We'll find out. So Noah is back, and Frank shows Noah that he sold the house, and it's gotta be out by the end of the month. Between this and the money from the GI Bill, he thought he would be able to have enough to get it. And I asked the same question. What? And Noah asks this, and he's like, your dream house, the Windsor Plantation. And Noah's just like, Dad. And I love Frank in this moment where Frank's just like, don't dad me. I've already talked to the bank. They'll give you the loan.
Because he knows that's exactly what he's wanted to do since he was a kid. That's just a known fact,
right.
isn't it?
And Dad's just like, no. You've come back from war. Like, you deserve this. Like, this is my gift to you. And Noah says that he can't let Dad sell the house. And Frank's just like, it's done. It's a good thing. We're done. You should do it. And then Noah hugs his dad and then goes, well, if you sell the house, where are you going to live? And again, quality from Frank. And he just goes, with you, dummy, where do you think? Someone's going to help you fix it up.
Like, can we just appreciate, though, the moment where he walks back as then he's come back from war and his dad goes over and gives him the biggest hug ever. Like,
yeah,
that is like so special.
So beautiful.
Like, when you've got a relationship with your dad like that, it's just the best thing ever. Like, to walk home and feel like you're back at home and you're safe. Like, it's a safe feeling ever.
Yeah, and always being able to just feel safe no matter what is happening.
Yeah,
through
legit.
all the ups and
Like,
downs. It's just like, all right, life sucks right now, but I'm home. It's okay. Like,
but I'm here. I've got a dad hug. I'm good.
yeah, it's like it's okay. Dad's here. Dad'll take care of it. Like, it's such a wonderful feeling.
Yeah, it is.
And if it's not your dad, like just having that person in your life where you can just be like, whatever that is, just it's okay. They're gonna take care of it. Like that, they will make it better. They have the magic touch.
Yeah,
Like I can't
100%.
explain it. They, no matter how crappy life is, they can make it better,
Always,
and it's
always in
beautiful
very,
when
very
you find
quick
that.
turn. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So Duke's voiceover. They go to the house, and Duke continues saying that Noah looked at the house but saw one thing: Allie. He decided right there to fulfill his lifelong dream to rebuild the house from the ground up. And then I wrote, "Then why is he on a bus?" And then I hit play, and it
So
goes,
true.
Noah went to Charleston to get the building plans approved. Fate swept in and dealt him a sweet card, and I just go, "Oh, yeah, that's why he's on the bus." If I waited 3 seconds, I would have gotten my answer.
That's why, literally.
He's like, "Why is he on a bus?" Oh, thank you. Appreciate it. He sees Allie from the bus, and I was like, "Ooh, are they gonna meet?" And I didn't know, and I was like, "Ooh." And this is where I thought I should pause it, but I went a little further, and I'm glad I did. So Noah asks the driver to stop the bus. The driver says that he cannot until they get to the depot. Noah asks again, and I appreciate the driver just going, "Do you understand English, pal?" Like, just full on, like,
Yeah.
what country you think you're in?
Have you ever done that? Like demanded a bus driver to stop?
I've demanded a bus driver to stop while not being on the bus and not them being at a stop.
I was in London, like, wait for me.
No, it was actually in Seattle.
Oh,
Um,
really?
so I was walking up and I could see the bus stop, but I was still like up, like I still had to cross one street to get to the bus stop, but I
Uh-huh.
could see it. And then the bus passed me, and then I started running, and I didn't catch the bus in time for the bus stop. So I kept running down the street because I was like, if I don't catch this bus, this is my last bus home. Like, I don't have another bus home until 5 a.m. I'm gonna call a friend at like midnight and be
Come
like,
and pick
dude,
me up.
come pick me up, or like I'm working my way to your house, open your door. Like, you don't gotta like it, just open the door. That's
Just
all I
help me
need.
out, please. I'm
Like,
stuffed.
I'll leave at 5 in the morning, like when the bus runs again. Um, but so I'm running down the street, and the bus driver stops, and I'm like frantically like jumping at the stoplight on like the pavement, just being like, "Hello!" And like they look over and like they notice me, and I'm like, "Can you stop?" And they're like, "Not here, but I'll stop at the next one." And so then like I just kept running down the street, and like thankfully the bus driver waited until I got there, and then
Yeah,
like
imagine you ran all that way and he was like, "Ha, only kidding, see you in a minute," and just drove
yeah, yeah,
off
yeah. Like
and just left you on your one.
at least she was nice and was like, "I will wait." And so like just waited at the bus stop for me to get there. And I was like, "Thank you." And she was like, "Yeah, don't mention it." Like she was so kind. Like she was like,
Don't
"It happened.
mention
Like don't worry." Like she was so kind.
Love it.
Shout out to that bus driver. So we continue, and Noah then just opens the door to the bus, jumps out, and starts running into traffic in front of cars, running, looking for Allie. We see Allie. She checks into some hotel restaurant. Turns out it's a restaurant. But I didn't know what it was. But she checks in, and Noah sees her from the window outside. But he sees her kissing and laughing with Lon, and I want Lon to go away. He needs to just not
Ooh.
exist because he has thrown another wrench into this, and I am not okay with this. But like the tension, the drama, I understand. But like, why can't these two just be together? It's bothering me.
There's a lot of complications around relationships because they don't always work out, or they need something to happen to be able to realize that actually, yeah,
Look, they're not always black and white. Like,
yeah, exactly. And like this is a really, really substantial and good film to learn from actually. That if you're really truly with the right person, you'll figure out anything to be with them
it is
and make stuff right.
beautiful.
And when you see them with someone else, like there's a moment in that where she checks into this restaurant and she sits down with him, and you can see Noah looking through the window, actually thinking, "Oh my goodness, I, what am I doing?" Like there's a realization of reality, and he's like, "Right, okay." He didn't go, damn it, I missed it. She's with some other guy. I think he just thought, great. Well, I'm the bigger person. I'm happy that she's happy, but I'm internally gutted. But you can just see the image of how he feels in his head when you look at him. When you see Ryan Gosling's face, he's
Yeah,
very good.
and
He's very good at portraying that.
that's what I was like, oh, like he feels hurt, but also what he portrays in this moment is that feeling of like, I'm hurt. I wish I could do something in this moment,
But I can't.
but I'm not gonna be a dick.
Yeah, legit.
Like that's what it came down to, was like he was like, I wish I could chase after her. I like, and I feel like if it was with her parents, he still would have. If it was
Yeah,
with someone that she wasn't actively kissing and laughing with, he still might have. But
yeah.
when he saw her kissing him, he was like, maybe she's moved on. Like, she's happy, sure. This is what I thought. Then we get Duke's voiceover. After seeing her that day, something inside Noah snapped. He got the notion that in his head that if he restored the house that they went to that night, Allie would find a way to come back to him. Some called it a labor of love. Others called it something else. Noah had gone a little mad. So maybe that's not what Noah was thinking. I don't know. We then get interrupted by the nurse of like just being like, no, we can't continue the story. We got to go eat lunch in the sunroom today. And that's all I know. I don't know anything else.
Ooh, I tell you what, it's a really substantial amount that you've watched because there's a lot that we've talked about in that time period.
Oh, dude,
But
so much has happened.
but
Like,
the moment where we were just talking about it now, I was reflecting on my first
mhm.
initial thought, like, oh, he's going to walk away being chill about it, thinking like, oh, that's just how it is. But obviously, based on what we know about the story and what we get the impression of, when Duke said like, oh, something in him snapped, and the reasoning to want to build this house is to try and draw attention to the fact that he was only doing it for her. So in this moment now, I know it's the bit you've watched up to, but do you think he's doing it because there's fate involved and she'll come back eventually, or is he doing it because he just thinks, I want her to know that I've done it just for her because that's how I feel about it?
I
It's
think right now it's a little bit of both. Like,
sure.
his justification for maybe working as hard as he
Hmm.
is I might be able to get her back. I might be able to get her back. I might be able to get her back. Right. And it's like, she'll come back to me. Like, it's okay. But I think, like, there is still the element of, like, he knows deep down that, like, she's happy. And so it's almost like he's trying to just, like, trick himself because, like, he wishes he could be with her. He kind of knows that he can't.
Hmm.
And so, like, I think deep down he knows. He loves her. But I think what we learned about Noah to this point, he isn't gonna do something to actively hurt her.
No.
And actively sabotage her relationship with Lon. I think it'll happen, but I don't think it'll be like he actively does it. Um I don't know. We'll see.
All will be revealed, my friend.
All will be revealed. I am currently very much in the we ain't revealing anything stage. Because I've still only watched half the movie. But
Damn it, Ankit. Damn it, man.
don't worry. If everything works out, I will be able to call you next week and we can geek out over the second half of the film, even if it's not on this podcast. Because I
Yeah,
will have a new
100%.
guest for next
Yeah,
week.
that's so true. I'm interested to see how that goes as
Yes.
well because, like obviously, as individuals, we pick up on different things, and
Oh
you
yeah.
know, we're able to discuss other points that maybe we wouldn't have discussed. And it's nice for you because there's so many angles that we've spoken about that you might not be speaking about in the near future, but stuff that in that near future that we might not have discussed now. And then you look at the overall image of the film and think, oh my goodness, what a message! And what I can tell you without spoiling anything is like the the storyline goes in the direction that those are the real moments of the film. That is what is meant to happen. And again, without spoiling anything, because it's this is just a known fact about the film. It is based on like something that's been real. So
Yeah.
when you watch it and you finish it, be known that that was meant to happen for for the reasons that it was, and the way it's written as well. You will there will definitely be emotional moments for you watching it, not necessarily towards the end, but just throughout the second half of the film, there's a lot more that goes on, and it's got like a real special message.
I'm
And
looking forward to it.
I think it will really touch you based on the things that you pick up on. You will probably end up coming and texting me going, I need to speak to you.
Well, I look forward to sending you that text message. And until I am able to do that, Rhys, thank you so much for
Thank
being on
you.
this show. If
Thank you
people
for
want
having
to
me.
find you and keep up to date with all the fun projects that you have going on, how
Sure.
can they do that?
On Instagram, it's Rhys, RHYS, dot, and then Matthew, MATTHEW, and then D at the end, Rhys.Matthew D. That's my Instagram. And you can also find me on Ankit's Instagram because we're pals. So if
Yeah,
you
we
have anything you
do
want to talk about
follow
in
each
musical
other.
theatre, acting, hit me up. We'll always chat about it.
Oh, yeah, for sure. We'll leave a link to his Instagram down in our
Always.
bio as
Sounds
well.
good.
But Rhys, thank you so much for joining and chatting about The Notebook. Listeners, thank you so much for listening. And until next week, when I legitimately don't know which direction this is going to go. I'm assuming that they meet again. I don't know. We'll find out. I'll catch y'all later. Thank you so much for listening to this episode of Post Finale. Post Finale is created and hosted by me, Ankit Madhira. It is produced by Ankit Madhira and Stephen Nyman. The music is by Ankit Madhira and Megan Hutchison. The art is by Jarid Rother, and our editor is Servellon. If you like the show, please follow us on social media at Co-op Forge, CO_OPFORGE on Instagram and TikTok and Facebook to keep up to date on everything that's happening with the podcast. And you can also follow at Post Finale Pod on Instagram if you just want updates for this show. Talk about us on social media. It really does help us out a lot. And thank you to anyone who has done this in the past or who will do this in the future. If you want to support in a monetary way and get access to some bonus content, you can do so by heading over to patreon.com/coopforge. That's patreon.com/CO_OPFORGE. And all the money raised on that Patreon goes directly back into the show to make it a better experience for you, the listeners. We just want to create good content while not being in the red while doing so. And your support means the world to us. If you can support in a non-monetary way, that's great as well. Just tell a friend about the show. Word of mouth is the best way to grow the show, and it really does help us out a lot. Leave a rating or review, subscribe, follow on whatever podcast app you are listening on. If you're listening on our YouTube channel, Co-op Forge, please hit a follow. If you're listening on another app, if you could do us a favor and go hit us follow on our YouTube channel, it would help us out. If we hit 100 subscribers on our YouTube channel, we got a special thing coming out for you all. But until then, thank you all so much for listening to this episode of Post Finale, and be sure to join us next week as we get on to more shenanigans. And until then, I'll catch y'all later.